Hello guys, welcome back. This is going to be the first super short God of the Day video, but let's do a video for Fenrir. So after I calmed down, we had another one of our chats. Fenrir is of course the child of Loki and Angrboda, and that would make him siblings to Jokamander and Hill, and half sibling to Sleipnir. And, or, it seems in my experience, they all consider each other siblings. It's not, gods don't have that idea we have of half or quarter or something. Some people have a different experience, but that's my experience. And he loves his family very much. He's very devoted to Loki. And he's very devoted to Hel and Jormungandr, and he's very protective and ferocious of the family. When you first meet him, you might find he's not the friendliest deity because he's used to attracting a lot of extremists that do stuff that would melt your eyeballs. And, he's used to attracting a lot of people that are, fanboy or fangirl of Loki, and they therefore assume they have rights with the children, like they're just gonna walk in and play mommy or daddy, and Fenrir ain't going for that. Fenrir is an independent deity, thank you very much. And just because you have a relationship with daddy, you don't have a relationship with him. And I'm not saying that to be mean. That was my experience. It was like, just because dad likes you doesn't mean I have to like you. I hate you. Stay away from me. Stay away from my sister. And, stay away from Jormungandr and everyone else. And the kids were actually very unfriendly when we first met, but I don't blame them because they've gone through countless, wannabe Lokeans that love Loki so much. Loki, best waifu ever, and then 6 months later they're on to someone else. So the kids are very guarded. He's on good terms with all the gods and goddesses, and this is my experience only. Nobody else probably have this experience only ever. Probably made this how my brain's wired, but he doesn't mind Odin. Odin doesn't mind him. In fact, it would have been Odin's call to spare him. There's two versions of a story of the kids getting to Asgard, by the way. In the first version, I don't know if it's the earlier version, Loki brings them. Loki brings the kids, and he's proud, and he's showing them off. And that's where you get the story of him playing with Tyr as a pup, and there's stories of, like, there was this human in Asgard, and that was his one playmate, though whether or not that's UPG or we have ancient lore, I don't know. I haven't read, like, every tiny stitch of lore, and that fucking clock is gonna die. And in the other story, that may be the later story, the children were found out about by the Allfather, and it was either by going to the Cirrus or it was something else. And he sent for them, and they were brought bound. Like Hel was brought bound, and Fenrir was brought bound. And they bound up Jormungandr, because in that version, Jormungandr spits poison, but it exists in no other version. That sounds kind of like the made-up version to me. The third version is that they are all for older deities than the Asgardians or the other ones, Vanir. That the family Loki has are actually a far older group of deities, and that's why we have the story of Tyr and Fenrir, because it was the old deities being replaced by these new deities. And just like the story of the Titans being replaced by the Greek gods, you have the old deities suddenly are the villain and being replaced, and they're all chaos and evil, terrible. And these new deities, good deities. And what it was is they were just a more primal, in touch with the earth race of deities. And you can go with any of the above, none of the above, it doesn't matter. With Fenrir, you kind of work with him at his discretion. You cannot make him appear in your life any more than you can make Loki appear, and he's certainly not going to do what you want him to do. He is not Pet Wolf. What else did I want to say? He's also, he's very independent, but he's very wise. If you're willing to sit down and you're willing to talk with him and go at his own pace, he's willing to give you advice, but he's like his dad. If you don't follow through on his advice and he thinks you're foolish, he'll stop giving you advice and he's not going to help you anymore. It seems to be a thing of Fenrir will have time with you like a true wolf would when it's Fenrir's time. When it's Fenrir's time, if Fenrir feels like being close, he's gonna be close, and you're gonna get wolf stuff out of the sky, which is kind of hard for me because I have Loki, Odin, and Fenrir, and they all use wolves, and sometimes it's hard to say, where's all this wolf stuff coming from? When Fenrir wants your attention, Fenrir will get your attention, and then you can have Fenrir time. But it's like, it's not like you can't call on him or work with him, but it's more like I find the relationship works far better if I leave it up to him. I mean, I'll like salute him and everything. Whether or not you actually want to worship him is entirely up to you. Some people don't think he exists. Some people think he was made up, and of course, some people think his dad's the crown prince of evil, which makes him a minor demon or something, which I think is bullshit. But it's up to you whether or not you work with him. There are certainly a fuck ton of candles and oils and everything else out there you buy or make your own. I have repeatedly offered him stuff. He has one little space in the house. And I repeatedly offered him stuff like to get everything all the other gods get because I treat the children like the gods they are. Not very interested. But with some people, he gets huge altars, so you're going to have a very unique relationship with him, whatever relationship you have. Yes, as I mentioned in an earlier video, he has god spouses who sometimes share way too much online. And I'm going to leave it at that. And assorted others. Whether or not these relationships are real relationships is none of my fucking business, but just be aware that it's out there so that when you go searching for Fenrir, you're going to get everything from he doesn't exist to Fenrir waifu. And they come in every sexuality, in every gender, just so you know and you're not surprised. Fenrir seems to attract people of extremes as well. Leaving all that aside, Fenrir attracts people of extremes as well. He'll attract people that sound like they have a serious criminal record, and they'll say, well, Fenrir would do it, so I'll do it too. The Fenrir I know got his shit together, and he don't have time to act like a wild, ravening wolf. I'm not saying he won't scare the fucking shit out of you the first couple times you meet, but he doesn't have time to act like a wild, ravening wolf, and he would not approve of us going out and being destructive because we think that's what he would do. To me, Ragnarok is honestly way too fucking Christian to be believed. I have never seen him set off Odin, and I've never seen Odin set off Fenrir, and I've never seen any bad interaction between the two. And if it is going to happen, it's already fated, it's already cast in stone, so that might explain why, at least in this territory, they're like, indifferent towards each other. It's just, it seems too fucking Christian to be believed, because at that point, the evil wolf is chained up, and the evil wolf breaks out. And remember, Fenrir is still growing all this time, so from the time he was chained up, this magical chain apparently grew with him. And he is now, by the time Ragnarok comes, so huge a wolf that one jaw is touching the ground and the other jaw would be scraping the upper part of the atmosphere. So a huge ass wolf, bigger than, any building or stadium or anything we have. And I'm like, I think that's a metaphor at this point. I'm not saying a god couldn't be that size, but metaphor? Kind of. So it's entirely up to you. He doesn't seem to care. He doesn't care, it seems, if you believe in his divinity. In fact, he was surprised the first time I addressed him as a divinity. And he doesn't really care, it seems to me, if you believe in Ragnarok or not. Whether he's bound or unbound, I couldn't rightly tell you. Again, it's like I'm a woman and I'm Italian, and I can tell you women grow beards. And we are very hairy, especially Italian women. So I'm like, all the things they mention in the chain that bound him, they exist. They exist. You can hear a cat's the footsteps of a cat, especially if you have a cat. They run through the house like a fucking elephant half the time. So it's like, I think it was just maybe the writer was actually saying there's no way they chained this wolf up because none of this stuff exists. You get that this is nonsense, right? The best explanation I have ever heard of Norse stories is that they say they were actually told to people, and people weren't told like you'd be told in a church, this is what you believe. Everybody could walk away with their own interpretation. So if I'm insulting your interpretation of something, don't take it personally. I tend to do that to people. And overall, he's really good to work with. He seems amused with wolf plushies. He seems amused with wolf movies and wolf specials. And that if I'm watching, I have this one I have like saved on a wolf playlist of wolf puppies getting bottle fed. He seemed to like that just fine. But I think he's like his dad. He'll give you what you need. So if you need a more dominant, aggressive Fenrir, that might be what you get. But like Loki or Odin, it will be Fenrir seems to only be what you're ready to handle, if that makes sense. I'm sure there are books out there on them. I can't recommend any at this point. I will not recommend or read any more books on any deities. I'm done at this point. I'm done. So, that's a lot shorter video, but with Fenrir we have such scant material to go for it. It's not like there's 80 stories in the lore. There's more UPGs out there of people going and having an encounter than there are bits of lore on Fenrir. There may be folk tales out there, that you read and you go, "Oh, that has to be Fenrir," but other than that, we don't have much. So, that'll be the shortest. I feel bad for the little puppy. That'll be the shortest video, but if you want to work with him, he's rewarding to work with. And if you guys like what you see, like, comment, and subscribe. I'm not sure who to do for the next video, but I will figure something out, and I will see you guys later. Bye bye.